Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. Either way, welcome to those of you who are new. We've got over 2,400 of these available in the Pro Wrestling section. This is the January 26th edition of the WCW Saturday Night Review series for 1991. We continue to be in a positive space there. Highlights of Tribal Nation open the show along with highlights of previous weeks. Chaos and the Horsemen creating chaos. Horsemen, of course, going into a decent enough match series here. Rip Rogers, who I did not realize was as big with WCW as he was in 1991. Rogers certainly doing a bit of an effeminate gimmick. Rogers certainly becomes probably the most influential trainer of the modern era. I would have to say. Anyway, we open with a Ricky Morton match with none other than Mr. Rogers here. Isn't that weird? The concept of Mr. Rogers wrestling sounds pretty funny. Anyway, so we move kind of forward into that Ricky Morton defeating Rip Rogers thing. Ricky Morton, of course, kind of moving away from, at least for a minute, the Rock and Roll Express deal there. Morton, of course, basic maneuvers along the way. Nothing to write home about per se, although, simple moves, arm bars, arm locks, and the like. Ricky Morton, of course, a guy who, honestly, is almost always in control of a crowd. No different here. Obviously, continuing to be a major crowd influence, crowd pleaser, crowd happiness type guy, and managing to do everything he can there in a basic maneuver. And so it's kind of a roll through there. Although, to be honest, Rip Rogers managing to get some good offense in through, and not a bad match to watch if you're an independent guy who's looking to be a little more focused or a little more, driven. Morton gets choked out over the bottom rope along the way. Ricky Morton also talks about the six-man tag team titles in a post-match interview with Paul E. and basically says he's not going to get up in anybody's face. Terry Taylor comes out and says that he deserves opportunities that Morton has been given. He has not turned heel yet, although you can see the teasers for Terry Taylor to complete a heel turn do exist pretty consistently here. Sid Vicious and Greg Sawyer up next. Vicious is acting viciously, punches, kicks, running kicks, choke slam, and a powerbomb. Almost a running stinger splash in the corner as well. Sting talking about formulating his team for the Great American Wrestle War thing there in a wrestling wrap-up with Gordon Soley, and going back to 111.91, the win for Ric Flair of the world title again. Flair is I believe at this point, 7-time champion. Ric Flair talks about beating Sting in the previous weeks on the 11th of January and kind of still doing the Horseman thing, taking Sting out. Sting frustrated, obviously, by that, but what can you do? Then we go to another in-series of matches here. I believe Tim Horner up next in a singles match, although Horner kind of they don't really do a ton with at the time. Tim Horner defeating Sheikh, Ali, Shakir in kind of a singles match. Then they try to put him in a tag team in the upcoming weeks. It doesn't really go all that well. Horner, though, a good enough hand, holds on to hammerlocks and other basic maneuvers, tries to get some head scissors, headlocks, and the like, spins him around. Horner good at basic wrestling. Michael Wall Street is here. He is otherwise known as Mike Rotundo, aka IRS. Start of the York Foundation here. He is an early member, although he's not with the company all that long, as he's debuting as IRS not terribly much later, probably in the spring months of that, and grab my phone, so we'll be right back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail to continue that. The Michael Wall Street match is here. And again, the Michael Wall Street enhancement match here. Pretty basic. He works over the leg of his adversary. Wall Street managing to go at it with the main component of the match here. Wall Street, a decent enough guy, and kind of is out here, continuing to be in control of a Scott Allen, which, not a super regular name, although regular enough that he's been seen on these WCW enhancement deals before. Again, Michael Wall Street is one of the first members of the York Foundation, which the finding of Alexander York, aka Terry Reynolds, is an interesting story. Makeup person for the Turner organization, and manages to become basically an enhancement manager, for lack of a better term, because they never really give her a full run here, but certainly a decent enough situation for her own benefit there. And again, it's pretty basic there. He hits the clothesline. Again, Michael Wall Street, a couple of years before, had been he had done a sailor gimmick. He had done the varsity club gimmick. And again, we go to Doom, which is Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. They are your former at this point, 1991 tag team champions here. And again, Doom is Reed, or actually, they are still tag team champions. Mike Hart and Mike Samples are their opponents here. They have not dropped the belts yet. They dropped them within the next couple of weeks. And I mean, Simmons and Reed are pretty aggressive individuals, as it were. Punch, kick, very basic stuff, and ultimately getting to a simplistic way of kind of dominance, and you kind of get some basic maneuvers here, including kind of backbreakers from Simmons and Reed. Reed probably the better pure wrestler at the time. An enhancement match for the champions, pretty much tuning them up. Also, we kind of get, some snap suplexes, other basic maneuvers, and Reed and Simmons, again, Teddy Long doing the majority of their talking at the time, although Long is going to be on the outs with them in the next little while. You can kind of see teases of a little bit of negativity there. Then we move to Brian Pillman in an enhancement match. Pillman, of course, coming into WCW from Calgary, probably about maybe a little bit more than a year before. Anyway, Brian Pillman in an enhancement match here. His opponent for this particular day is none other than the Cajun Predator. Don't know who that is. Cajun Predator, not very good. Don't know that we see him too much more here. Managing to do what he can, where he can, and getting a couple of shots on Brian Pillman. Pillman, though, hitting the drop kicks and then the slingshot and getting a victory here. Pillman, quick victory, and honestly doesn't really have a lot going on in terms of any major challenges in the match itself. Then we go to none other than Jimmy Garvin and Michael P.S. Hayes, obviously the Fabulous Freebirds. They're relatively new in the area at the time, coming in late 1990. Of course, Hayes stayed with Texas as long as he could, the Dallas area. Hayes and his adversaries are, basic punch kick style, very flamboyant pink pants there. And we kind of see the Freebirds get a quick victory here, and kind of I guess you'd say, brainbuster type maneuver from Jimmy Garvin. Garvin in control the majority of the contest. Then we go to another in the series of squash matches. Scott Steiner in a rare singles appearance, although various start and stops, 91-92 area to getting Scott to be a singles guy. Johnny Peterson is his opponent here. Scott sends Peterson in the buckle a couple times, hits a belly-to-belly suplex, also goes and nails a pretty hard Steiner line, aka clothesline, and Steiner in complete control there, trying to get something more out of the match where he can. Then we go to Keith Hart and Larry Santo in a tag match here. Their opponents managing to be, kind of a Bobby Eaton and Bobby Eaton's tag partner, or Jack Victory rather, and Rip Morgan kind of doing the Secret Service thing. That gimmick really doesn't get over too terribly much at the time. They kind of have been doing it for a little while. Morgan really doesn't do anything post this gimmick, so this is kind of his, I don't know, one shot would be the right word. I mean, he does do some enhancement work post this, but not a whole bunch. Probably for a couple more years on and off. But Victory and Morgan kind of doing the Secret Service thing doesn't really get a lot over there. Clothesline by Morgan basically takes the enhancement talent out of his boots. Paulie Dangerously interview up next, and then we go to Anderson and Wyndham, the Horsemen here, in an enhancement match. Of course, the Horsemen getting ready for Wrestle War at the time. Not exactly great with that there. Arn Anderson, Barry Windham defeating Rick Ford and Carl Robinson. Then kind of going forward here into a basic squash match for the team. Anderson kind of, encouraging Wyndham to do the lion's share of the power moves, including vertical suplexes, a modified lariat, actually a couple of them. And then the Horsemen do a black and white promo, one of their better ones, talking about how Doom is not ready for them. Gut wrench suplex is also part of the squash match for Eaton and or for Wyndham and Anderson. Anderson nails the spine buster, gets a victory there. Then we go to Bobby Eaton and Brett Wayne. Bobby Eaton again can draw a good squash match out of just about anybody. Pretty basic deal here. Eaton manages to get some punches, kicks, decent enough roundabouts with back elbows and other basic maneuvers by Eaton. Eaton with the stun gun into the buckle also gets the Alabama Jam and a victory there. The Renegade Warriors, otherwise known as Tribal Nation in the Global Wrestling Federation a couple years later, they are here. I think they're the Youngblood brothers doing a Native American gimmick. They do about a 2-minute match here. They come in, bunches, chops, kicks, punches, arm drags, and other basic maneuvers against the State Patrol. State Patrol, of course, Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker and James Earl Wright. They're doing I guess you'd say, evil cop type character, and they get a pretty consistent victory there. One of the State Patrol hits a power slam, but the Tribal Nation does manage, aka Renegade Warriors, manage to come up with a pretty good victory. We'll close on that. We'll be back with more right after this.